Alright, it's time to record another constructed Planeswalker game here. And we lost the roll again. Man, I lose the roll a lot. Not to complain, but I lose the roll a lot. So this hand is almost good. It's good if it has a mountain. If I was going first, I'd definitely mulligan, but since I'm going second, I have another draw step. I think it's probably worth taking the risk just because this is a very strong hand if I do have the mountain. Plus I have my winner card here, so I'm going to keep it. I could be wrong. I could just not draw any lands and lose. But I have 3 turns to draw a mountain. I have 3 turns to draw anything. Hey, there we go. Now we're in good shape. Our opponent's not doing anything. Usually that's good for us, actually. So I could play Prodigal Pyromancer here. He's probably just going to kill it, so he's got all his mana up. I'd rather just... Well, I could leave my counters up. Even if he plays with Lightning, I can just discard Blaze. Yeah, I'll just play my guy, actually. I'd rather he kills this with a Terror than Flame Blast Dragon. Yep, he's stuck on 3 lands. Okay, hopefully you watched the first game. This is the second one I've recorded, but so I'll just walk you through a turn here. You can see along the side we have all these the steps of the turn. So first we're going to untap, and then we have upkeep. Nothing's going to happen. Now we draw a card, which automatically did all that for us. Now it's our main phase. So you can, in your main phase, you can play a land, and then we could cast any spells, instant or sorcery. But I don't want to cast. I don't want to blaze him. I want to save. If I'm gonna blaze him, I want to do it for more damage than 3. And I can leave my cancel up, and I have incinerated instant speed 2. And there's also no reason to attack with Pyromancer because I can just deal 1 damage with his tap ability instead. Having the Pyromancer in play makes him not able to play a 1 toughness creature, or he can just lightning bolt it. Okay. I could negate the Lightning Bolt, but I think there's more important things in my deck than... I'd rather negate something to save Flame Blast Dragon, so I'll just deal him 1. So what I'm doing here is I'm responding. So when your opponent plays a spell, you get priority and you can do something. So I used his ability, or I could use the counter spell to stop his card. So it's something always important to remember. And when you play in real life, if you want to respond to something, you use the phrase in response. So that means that because whenever you play a spell, it goes on the stack, which is over here, and then you get a chance to respond to it. Our opponent got a 4th land, it seems. We have a bunch of cards to kill his stuff, but we don't have anything to kill him, so I'm just going to pass again. And he did nothing. He has to discard now, because he has 8 cards in his hand. He discarded New Frontiers. He is playing green, apparently. Need to play a card. He's obviously missing a color. That's good knowledge, because it means that he's not just holding a bunch of removal, it means he just can't play stuff. So... I could shock. If I don't play anything, I have to discard, and I want to get value out of my card somehow, so... I have another Blaze. I think I'll just Blaze him for 4. I could have just played a shock, but I want to keep the instants. He's playing red, black, which typically doesn't have a lot of big creatures, so these are probably going to be relevant later. He drew a forest now. This is a really powerful card. People like to play this in EDH to make friends. Cultivate, yep. So now he's going to have mana and actually be doing stuff. Oh, he has Plains in his deck too. Something else that Magic Online does for you is when your opponent reveals a card in real life, you can write it down. There's no rule against that. You don't want to forget. I don't want to forget that he has a forest in his hand. Then In Magic Online, you just click on it and it'll go away, so once they play the card, you don't have... In real life, you just cross it out on your sheet of paper. Alright, here's the land. I have to decide whether to play Flame Blast Dragon or to pass. I think I'm just going to pass. Because I don't want to tap out. He has 2 mana up. He probably has a Terror or something of that nature in his hand. I do have, right now, basically 10 points of burn. Another Cultivate. That happens. Does he have an island? Nope. And the mountain came into play, so I can click to remove that. So right now I know he has a forest and a plains in his hand, and 5 other cards. Another Incinerate. Alright, so I'm going to Incinerate him, and I want to be careful about tapping my mana. If I tap... It's very important to think about which lands you're going to tap before you play spells. If I play Incinerate... Let's say, like, I think I want to either play Incinerate or Shock to deal him a couple damage and not discard again. So I want to be able, if I cast Incinerate, tapping an island and a mountain, I'll have 2 islands and 2 mountains, which means I could cast Cancel and Shock, because there's blue, blue, red. If I tap 2 mountains, then I can cast Cancel and Unsummon. So I unsummon for 1 island, and then island, island, mountain to play the 3rd one. So, it's basically what do I want to keep up. And I think if he plays a huge creature, I would rather unsummon it than cancel it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap... see, if I just cast the Shock, though, I can keep Incinerate and cancel, or Incinerate and unsummon, or Incinerate, negate, and unsummon. So I'm just going to Shock him, basically. Hopefully you were able to follow all that. But these are the kind of decisions you have to make in games that are... Learning how to do stuff like that is how you go from being a beginner to being a more seasoned player. Right, he played his plan, so I can remove that from this list. All that mana in his hand. He's probably waiting for me to tap out, which isn't going to happen. Okay, that's a Wurmcoil Engine. That's... I could let it resolve, or I can just counter it. He's probably playing Broodmate Dragon, in which case I'd want to cancel that more. I'm just going to let it resolve and bounce it at the end of the turn. My opponent is being belligerent and complaining about how long I'm taking to make decisions, so time to teach you something else. Take all the time that you need. There is such a thing as playing too slowly, and you could get in trouble for that, but usually people play too quickly. They don't think enough about what they're doing. So now we almost have enough burn to kill him, because now he's at 13. We have 3, 6, 8. Right now this is 5. Oh no, that is 13. Never mind. Okay. So what I do at the end of turn is I can just go Incinerate, Incinerate, Shock, and then Blaze him and win the game. So that's an advantage that the counter burn decks have. Blue-red. And if you're playing blue-black or blue-white control, you need a creature to finish them off. But in this case, the advantage of playing red is that you don't even need that. So end of turn, I'm going to throw all of my burn at his face. See, that game we played very carefully. Played around his huge threats. And I'm sure he had more big cards in his hand. Didn't tap out. We never even played this cancel, but it helped us win the game. So basically what we learned in that game is even sometimes leaving up mana for counter spells you don't have will make people not play stuff. That's an important thing in playing blue. And we learned not to let our opponent intimidate us into playing too fast. And it's important to always have a plan to win the game. And I think I say that in a lot of these videos. And that's pretty much it. That's kind of, I hope that this game especially, because it kind of looked like we were behind for a while, but I think this game kind of shows the thinking, the thought process that goes into winning a close game like that. So probably have a couple more to come soon, and thanks for watching.